Hey everyone, Sean here, and welcome to this Hawk Talks episode. Definitely wanted to sit down and talk about this for at least a long while. This sort of topic has been on and off. People like to talk about it, stir up something in the pot on the internet, right? But I never got the chance to actually say something about it because I do have some things to say. I do have my 2 cents on it as someone who has been on this uh, platform alone for about I want to say 19 years now, almost 20. Wow, because I started back in '06, so that is some time, right? That is actually a lot of time. But I wanted to just say something about it. So just I don't know, something came about it. I just wanted to sit down and go at it. So, anyways, um, the question, of course, in case you haven't read the title, is being an influencer hard or being a content creator hard? I think first off, that question of itself is a bit of a mess, if that makes sense. I feel like that's not the correct way to ask because obviously, on the surface level, being an influencer slash content creator, it definitely depends on what you're doing, of course, but for the most part, is by comparison to other jobs, if that's the context we're going off of, is no, right? Doing said content creation or being a streamer or whatever the hell is that you do, whatever your motif is, no matter what, I think on that surface level is a no. Let's talk about the things that make it easy, right? Or the luxuries that you have as, if you're doing a content creator, being a content creator as a job to sustain yourself, right? Or at least on a part-time basis or whatever, right? Full-time, whatever. Being an influencer slash content creator, you do have control of your hours. You can call it quits whenever you want to, call it a day, do one video or two videos, whether you just shoot them one day and then edit them the next. You have all the flexibility in the world in that regard, right? You control your stuff, your ideas can run wild as pretty much what you're limited to by your own imagination, and there's a lot to it that does come with, and people love to have them, of course. You can pretty much go on your own vacations, you're your own boss, all that stuff, right? Being that influencer slash content creator is not hard for the most part, especially if all you do is react off of other people's content, and that's how you get your views. And if that's your hustle, I mean, hey, if it works, it works, right? But here's the big catch, and this is where I would like to say no, right? At least to some regard, and you have to do a bit of digging as to why it isn't exactly the easiest job in the world, right? But it is a job that we all strive for, right? To be our own boss, have our own days to take a day off. We can just have lunch whenever we want. We can work whenever we want, whatever, right? You get the idea. But you don't have that luxury from the beginning, obviously. If you want to be said content creator slash influencer, you have to work your way up, right? And that's, I think, where people fail to understand slash think about, right? Whenever these influencers or content creators tackle this topic, I feel like they always come off as like, oh, dude, it's the easiest fucking job in the world, easiest fucking job in the world, blah blah blah. There's no question and all that stuff. I see that they fail to really open up the can and really like open up the conversation. All they do is kind of like touch upon it, be a little vague about it, and just say it's not hard because, yes, obviously, on that surface level, it isn't. But how do you get there? How do you get to that point where being an influencer slash content creator is easy? You have to work your way up. Again, that's where it starts to get hard because you have nothing. You have 0 people following you. And especially nowadays, way more people are doing it, and you have way more competition than a lot of those people will ever have. I'm sure none of them can't comprehend that. So their scope is a little foggy. I would say it's foggy slash a bit of in a tunnel vision, right? Their eyes are kind of in a tunnel vision in a sense, from what it sounds like whenever there's answer this stuff, you know. But yes, there are luxuries that come with being a content creator as a job. But you have to think about it, right? You know, again, you have to think about the competition. Whether it's you're gaming, reacting, or whatever it is you want to do. Whatever it is that you want to make content off of, you have to compete for that space. Essentially, you have to give 1 million people a reason why they should tune in for your video every single time, right? That's where it gets hard. That's where it starts to really expand. You know, you not only you have to make the video, you have to edit it, but also you have to market it. Like, you have to package it, like as if it's something people would need to listen to or tune into, right? Something for people to just like somehow catch on to, something to latch on, right? Whether it be your personality or the actual content of itself, your execution of said content, the format, right? Whatever it is, right? That goes all into like, planning and calculating on all the things that you gotta do to make the video. And sometimes, yeah, making a random video on the whim, hey, that can get yourself 1 million views. And that's what happened with my We Have Fun video number 49. We're just playing Wii Party, right? We're just playing a Wii Party game, nothing else to it, and millions of people loved it, right? Back in that day. It was just kind of like lightning in a bottle, essentially. And I haven't able to quite replicate it since, at a certain point in life, because more people have been doing it. There have been more people have been gaining access to all these tools, right? And the hardware, like the capture cards, the computers, and the software to do so. Especially when you have DaVinci, right? If you start off with DaVinci, you're essentially set, because that will do more than enough for you to get started on a YouTube channel, Instagram, or whatever else, right? And it all starts with this, right? But because it's so easy to do, guess what? A lot of people are also doing the same exact thing you are wanting to do. So the real question is not really about being an influencer. It's about becoming that content creator or YouTuber on the internet to make it a sustainable source of income. That's the hard part. That is the hard part. I don't know why people never evolve the question, besides just saying or asking, is being an influencer hard? Like, no shit, right? No shit, it isn't. But getting there, getting to that point, the road, right, ahead of you, the path that you have to set for yourself, getting there, that's the hard part. And there are so many things you have to worry about getting there, right? Retaining your audience, the algorithm, hoping your platform doesn't fuck up and, screw themselves over something that could have been resolved. If these people talk like adults, right? You just never know, right? Because YouTube platforms like YouTube and Twitch can someday just go kaput because somebody can't keep their hands to themselves. That's how fragile this whole bubble is, man. That's what makes it hard. That's what makes it like anxiety inducing, just nerve wracking. And that's where a lot of the micromanagement comes in, where you have to make sure edit your stuff right, you do your shooting right, you do what you got to do, right? Whether it be you playing a video game or talking about a news topic, rating something to your audience, whatever it is, you got to do it right, and you got to put your heart into it, right? You have to be passionate about it. You have to be there, essentially. You can't just go off of these trends and expect for the same exact effect to apply to you. If life were to work that way, nothing would be special. And that's what makes these certain people to follow that much more special. Now, how much do you have to be special to get to that point of meeting your goal, right? That all falls on to each person. That all falls onto a case by case point. How much of an audience you want to grab, how many subscribers you want to aim for. It all really winds down to whether you like doing it or not, So this is kind of a tangent, but not really. It all relates to this topic. One thing I have learned about from a certain hobby / interest of mine, which is car detailing, is that it's different for everybody, right? Car products work differently for those people's cases, because how your water is, right? How your water can make a difference. The stuff that gets on your cars can make a difference. Where you live makes a huge difference. Your weather conditions, all those factors fall into how these certain car products work, which is why sometimes, hey, this one car product that you've trusted for years doesn't quite work the same as others, which is why you tend to see comments like, hey, it worked for me, blah, 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 all that stuff, right? Kind of the same-ish can happen with this question as well. Hey, some people have it hard when they're being an influencer. Some have it really easy. And of course, it all depends on your environment, and it all depends on what the hell you're doing, right? If you're dealing with politics, yeah, you're going to have a lot of people being assholes to you because they don't like your opinion. But hey, if you're just like mowing the lawn and people find that entertaining, hey, that's easy as hell too, right? That's easy. Or if I'm washing my car and and people find that entertaining somehow and enjoyable, right? That's obviously easy for someone like me. But you just have to make do with what you got, also as well. But yes, there's a lot more to it than that. There's a lot of gray areas, right? That's where it starts to get really gray. Some parts, yes, it does turn black and white. A funny way to think about this whole content creation thing, this is how I see it, right? So imagine, right? So whenever you're looking for a job, what do? You put out a resume. You put out your resume on whatever job offering there is available on this certain website. Or a company website, right? You submit your resume. You hope to God that they choose you, and then they interview you, and you also have to hope to God they then choose you, right? And that's for more like the careers, right? Like writing and I don't know, all that other jazz, right? Something that requires a degree, or something that requires that degree of skill. But when it comes to being a content creator, that's pretty much what you're doing, right? With these videos. It's kind of like a resume, if you will. You're giving a reason, you're giving your experience, your skills, right, as a content creator. And this is what you can do to hopefully captivate somebody out there in the world. And they're the bosses. They are the ones that give you the numbers and that road. Each of it is like a step to that road of being able to sustain yourself with that the whole content creation gig. Every single time you make a video, that's a resume. And you could also say, hey, this is all that process, all the work you put into, all the sweat, blood, and tears. It's just this long resume before you hit that 100K or 1 million or whatever, right? You got that one long ass resume on your channel. That's pretty much what it is. Although, albeit, yes, a little more interactive and fun to look back on because you can see how much you've grown. Potentially, right? Of course, you can also kind of like argue that it all depends on what your goal is, right? How much or how serious are you with this whole content creation as a career to sustain yourself? If you're doing this as a hobby, obviously it's not a fucking job, so it's just a hobby. You're doing it just for the fun of it, which could potentially give you some pocket money back. And hey, if you still treat it like a hobby, at the end of the day, even if you are 1 million famous, then hey, more power to you. But a lot of those times at that point, you have to kind of treat it like a job. And that's where it starts to get a little more difficult, right? Because of the people we have to deal with. Sometimes the comments, right? One way or the other, you're gonna see those comments, right? And it all depends on like the how thick your skin is, right? And your mental fortitude and just the things you have to put up with is what makes it, not exactly the easiest thing, but that's also you have to put up with as you get along, or as you go along that road. And that's what makes it also hard. Is having the stress, and then now you have these people just berating you, hating on you and stuff like that. So that's definitely what makes it hard, in one way. I can definitely go on about it, right? I mean, at some point you're gonna like hire some form of like a team, right? If you really take it that far, and then you have your own editor, you have your own producer, you have your own writer, or whatever it is, right? Your own talent agency or whatever that you work with, and they help you do all this stuff, right? Depending on who you are, that's at that point, that's what makes it easy, right? Because they do it all for you, Hey, sounds nice, but you still have to put in your time into it, one way or the other. So, but by comparison to other jobs, yes, no shit, right? That's really all there is to it, I feel. I know there's like a lot more details to go over, but I think you get the gist of it. It's really all about asking the right questions on this subject. Being an influencer or content creator is not hard. What's hard is to become that influencer or content creator. The road to getting there is a long stretch. But once you get to that mansion, man, you're set. You're sitting there, man. You're just like this, pretty much. Oh, get up, do your video. That's pretty much it. But yes, there are some things that make it hard, like having to balance it out with your family and all that stuff. But that's like every other job. Obviously, even if you do make it there are hard areas, but there are also other areas that make that job easy, and also desirable. At the end of the day, it's a very desirable job. That's a lot of people strive for, which is why people want to go for it. And that's what makes it hard for each and every one of us that wants to do it. Right? You're not the only one, man. Anyways, I think that's all I can say about this thing. So you could say it depends, right? You could also say yes. You could also say no. It all depends on what your goals are, how you view things, right? How much are you willing to put your time into it? But the surface level question, right? You know the answer at this point. Actually doing it is not hard, but to get put in the work to get to that point, that's where it gets sweaty. So any comments, anything else you guys want to say in the comment section below, I would love to read them. Let's keep it friendly and informative. Be just excellent to each other, right? That's all we strive for in this space, because we're already getting enough shit on our plate in life. I think we've had enough of that, right? Also, like and subscribe really helps out, and I do appreciate it. So this is all coming from me, who has been on this space for almost 20 years. I've dealt with a little bit of everything, including having to go to E3, right? So it's nice. Let me tell you, it's nice to have a little bit of everything. But dealing dealing the stuff within those little everythings definitely it does make it a little tough, right? But yes, the competition is still fierce. But I like doing it, and that's all I'm here for. I like doing it, man. Passion, the love for it. I just have fun with it. And that's really all that matters. So thank you very much. I hope to see you all in the next video. Sean out.